and we just come up with things that we think people want to learn about. It's the truth. And we teach, one philosophy class a month. Maybe you don't even know this. One philosophy class a month, 2 chiropractic or neurological related classes a month, and 1 fun class a month. That's how we design our 50 classes for the year. And this was Dr. Ashley's class. And she thought that this was a really good topic. And I agree with you. It's a really good topic. And she wasn't feeling up to teaching it tonight because she got a little sick on the plane. So you are all very, very lucky because you get to spend 25 minutes inside my brain. I think this has potential to be a really good class. If I can keep Alex interested, then I know we've won. So the thieves of health inside my detoxed brain, right? I came up with 5 major thieves of your health this morning, and I've been asking my patients all day, what's the number 1 thief of your health? And I've gotten some really interesting answers. And I'm going to incorporate all of those answers in case they're watching into this class. Really, because the way I interpret something is not the way that you interpret something, and you. Very, very different. And that's the beauty of the open adjusting area. Because I can pose a question and there are going to be 5 people in there and get 5 different responses, and mine being the 6th, because it's not anything at all what I expected or was shooting for. So this was our research for the week. The father of modern medicine emphasized the health of the spine. So does anybody know who the father of modern medicine is?
I think I heard you say it earlier.
Anybody? 2,400 years ago?
He's a Greek.
Hipra.
Why am I?
Hip, 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 hip. Today, Junior, Hippocrates.
Why do you think these Greeks had all these great thinkers in this time period, like math and all this?
I think that there were great thinkers all over the world. It's just that we hear an awful lot about the Greek because they ruled so much of civilization.
History?
Yes, that's my opinion. So Hippocrates is the father of modern medicine. He's well quoted in every medical literature book that you could possibly get your hands on, right? And it's rather interesting that every single medical doctor has to take an oath. Do you guys know what that oath is called? The Hippocratic Oath. And some circles of people now call it the Hippocratic Oath. Interestingly enough, my team, Deanna, one of her tasks for the week was to pull up the Hippocratic Oath so we could all read it. And it was very interesting because in the Hippocratic Oath, it says, the doctor shall first, above all things, do no harm to the patient. And it's very interesting that every single doctor swears to this oath with their hand in the air. And the first thing that happens when they get into practice is prescribe medications. And I'm not telling you that medications are bad for you, but what I'm telling you, absolutely 100%, is that medications are among the top 5 leading causes of death right now in the United States. Top 5. I've read some research suggesting that they're in the top 3. Okay? So I can't have a class where we talk about thieves of your health without bringing up the reality that every single day over 300 people die from taking their properly prescribed medications. And I don't care if they save lives. All I care about is, yes, if they save lives, and yes, if people are dying from it, what's the cost? Or what's at stake? Just as many people might be dying, I'm suggesting, from their properly prescribed medications than being saved. I'm suggesting that. And I'm putting the seed in your head to do your own research. Because every single day people ask me about that. Doc, I've been taking my Lexapro, or I've been taking this. And I say, what is the game plan to get you off of it? And what do they say every single time? Doc, I don't think you heard me correctly. I'm supposed to stay on this forever. Okay? We don't even know the damaging effects of these medications yet. We're just starting to scratch the surface, because the number one thief of your health is absolutely the medical paradigm. We could spend months. I believe that, there should be classes about this in the healthcare model when they're educating students to say, hey, look, this is what's happening. Last week, we had a discussion with my team about the word apologetics and what that means. Okay? You just educated me a little bit on this. Can you tell everyone what the word apologetics means, Cindy?
That means knowing how to defend your faith or defend whatever it is that your beliefs.
Your beliefs.
Yeah, whether it be your faith or...
Defending your faith, or I'm sorry, not your faith, defending your beliefs with conviction, to stand up against anyone who wants to counter or pose any other thoughts aside from your own beliefs. And, we always think of the word apology as being, I did something wrong, I have to apologize for you. And that is not the root word from where it comes from. Apologetics is being with conviction with your belief system, whether it be your faith in Creator or whether it be your belief system for what is right and where healing comes from. And I will tell you with conviction, with 100% of every cell in my body, I do believe that this system, if used in the wrong way, will create more harm than good. I believe that, and I have no problem saying that. Okay? Now, this system will save your life in a moment of crisis. If I fall over right now with a stroke or heart attack, please take me to the hospital, because hopefully they can save my life. But I do not believe that the same system that will save your life from a stroke or heart attack will be able to educate you to not have that happen again. It will fail you the minute you walk out of the door. It's my belief. And I have seen it happen enough. So, don't show up to a gunfight with a sword. Right? So, in apologetics, we know that if you believe and you know something to be true, do not let someone convince you that you should be doing something other than that for yourself. Just know that it's true and stand beside your belief. And one thing that is very valuable and beneficial in healthcare is, generally speaking, unless you have a medical emergency when someone else needs to make a decision for your own health, it's a 1% or less of the situation that most people are in. You have time. You can think things through. If someone gets diagnosed with cancer and they want to start chemo and radiation tomorrow, you've been living with cancer for probably a decade or longer. You'll make it another day most of the time. Got it? So the medical paradigm, as much as it is good for us, it is also very damaging for us. Okay? Number 2, your healthcare insurance is a thief of your health. And I've spoken about each one of these things for so long over the years that, I've taken a lot of arrows over this one. I've stood on stage and I've taken lots of arrows. And one day, and I just don't care, quite frankly. I do think that people show up here because they know I'm going to tell them the truth. And I sleep well at night knowing that I'm on your team, not on someone else's team. So, I gave a talk one time, and, there was a doctor in the room, and he was just like, he had the never-ending quiver that he just kept loading and shooting at me. And I'm just like, whatever, practicing my belief with apologetics and defending my belief. And I feel very confident that I did a good job, and I still slept good that night. And then one day I was like, all right, this is ridiculous. So I went to give another talk, and I gave this talk at the senior center, and there was of senior age crowd, and there was a lot of people there. I think there was like over 40 people there. And I just said, okay, raise your hand if you believe that Obamacare and Medicare is going to save your life, and if your life is getting better and your healthcare needs are getting met because you have those things. And raise your hand if you have 100% confidence in the medical system. And I just went through this. And a couple people raised their hand, and then I kept talking, and I said, no, seriously, if you have 100% confidence that the medical model and your healthcare insurance is going to save your life and keep you healthy and well, keep your hand up. And I'm not even joking. Not a single person raised their hand. And I was like, okay, so you guys feel the same way I do. Now, I know never before in the history of the healthcare insurance model have more people lost faith in the system. Today. Go down the road and ask people, how do you feel about healthcare? How do you feel about healthcare? You are going to just you're going to hear every excuse and every reason why that people think that it's just not working the way that it was intended to. I mean, lots of people really truly thought that Obamacare was going to save them. And that's what they told us. Healthcare for everyone is what we need in this country. And I will tell you, I don't care if you love Obamacare, you hate Obamacare, the general consensus is it ain't working. People are sicker today than they were 5 years ago. Okay? What I've learned as a doctor is the better your insurance, I mean, I see this every day. People, we always ask for insurance because sometimes we can use some of it, but people come in and we ask for their insurance and they go, right, Cindy? They go, I got the best insurance. I'm expecting to pay for nothing, and I'm expecting that this is going to cover everything. And they put it down, and we call on it, and I sit down with them, and I tell them, I say, the great news is you're here. The not so great news for you right now is that your insurance is not going to save your life, and it's not going to cover what we need to do. And as soon as we get that straight, we can start to heal. Okay? This was designed to help you in a moment of crisis. Think of your health insurance exactly the same way that you think about your car insurance. How silly would it be to go to the mechanic, whip out your Geico card, and say, I'm covered, right? And they go, what do you, no one's ever done that before. That's an interesting concept, Dr. Andrew. And I'd say, well, this is my car insurance. This is my car, so my brakes will be covered, my oil change will be covered. How about some new tires to just put it on my card? They would laugh me out the door. So why do we think that healthcare insurance card is going to do that for us? We're more important than our cars, right? And they've tricked us. The medical paradigm wants you to believe that if your insurance doesn't cover it, you must not need it. It must not be necessary for health and wellness because we don't think that you need it. It's exactly how the system is set up to lead you astray, because the longer you stay thinking like that, the longer you will be stuck in this paradigm, and the longer the system will turn and the gears will go round and round and round and get you spun out the other end, and you'll be sicker and more unhealthy than ever before. I know it to be true because I see it every single day. Healthcare insurance was designed, or became what it is today, after the war, when a whole bunch of companies, the Industrial Revolution, a whole bunch of capitalism was alive and well, and we could change the world, and we had the best products, and we needed to put the men back to work. And if you had a lumber mill, and Tina had a lumber mill, and you're both paying $15, and then all of a sudden you get an idea because of this new thing called health insurance, and you say, hey, Andrew, don't work for Tina, work for me. We'll give you some cash to use for your health care. Guess who I'm going to go work for? Tina, I'm sorry, I love you, but I'm willing to work for him.
Whatever.
Whatever. Isn't that how it is today anyway? I have to quit the job that I love the most because I don't have insurance there. I need the card.
Job that I hate. Yep.
Or, you guys are already on top of this. Or I'm going to work this miserable job that I hate because I can't lose my insurance, guys. See? They got us. They got us so hooked on this system, and I'm telling you right now, it ain't working. All right? So it was used as an incentive to get people to come work for your lumber mill than hers in the coal mines. And then all of a sudden, and that's where the problem started. Okay, this is not an old model. This is a relatively new model. It's just a relatively new broken model that ain't going to get fixed, ever. All right? I profoundly believe in self-care. I don't care if you go to Whole Foods and you spend an hour there looking at a supplement book and you pick through good supplements to take, or if you go to the grocery store and you eat healthy food and you invest money on healthy food, or if you decide that you want acupuncture or chiropractic or a gym membership or a yoga membership or a personal trainer. You see where I'm going with this? I am a huge advocate of self-care. You know, and people come to me and they say, you know, and I'm not, this is good. People say, Doc, I did some research and I spent $500 on these supplements. What do you think? And I look at it and I go, cool. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Right? Because the alternative is, if you're taking something that is benefiting your health outside of the model because they're not going to pay for it, then do it. All right? And I've been really open about this in the past where I said, I left this model. My accountant is not happy with me right now because she just found out that I'm not paying $850 and using it as a tax write-off. Right? I love my account, but she calls my baby, she calls Indy the little tax write-off. And I'm like, that's not funny. You see? And I told her, I said, listen, I don't care. Find me another tax write-off because I'm tired of paying $850 into this system. It's broken, and I'm not using it, and it ain't worth it. Okay? Yes?
Yeah, one of the problems with Obamacare was they didn't offer a catastrophic plan because you didn't care to go to the doc. You wanted catastrophic, and they made you buy everything.
Why did they make you do that?
Duh.
Yeah, we don't even need to say it. Duh.
Yeah, duh.
Because the system needs money to operate. And a healthy person needs to pay a lot more because the sick person is going to use up all the money. Okay? And a healthy middle class person is working really, really hard to put food on the table. They're going to get charged a lot of money in this system because there's a lot of other people that aren't working that need your money. So I'm not suggesting you do this, but I'm going to tell you what I do. And I'm a huge advocate for some of the MediShare programs. Get on a MediShare program. It's not right for everyone. Some people cannot sleep at night knowing that they're on a MediShare program. Me, I'm going to sleep anyway. So I'm going to lose sleep if I'm paying thousands of dollars into this system right now for me in my life. Okay? Get on a MediShare program. I went from $850 a month down to $250 a month for my family. And my money goes to be used specifically for people, and I know their names, and I can write them a letter in the mail and say prayers for them at night, knowing that my money is going to help this person. I could be my pen pal. I could call them on the phone. They give me their information. You know what I'm talking about, right? There's plenty of these popping up. They're popping up because people know that this system doesn't work. Okay? Diet. Diet is the third thief of your health. Okay? If you want to know more, come to my detox class. But even the people in this room, you guys know a lot of this already. Let the food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. Long before we had these things that were developed in labs, we only had food, right? So I worked for GlaxoSmithKline in my last life, and I was on the environmental team. And one of my roles as part of the environmental team, I give you guys little tiny stories. Someday I'll sit down and tell you the whole story. But one of my jobs as part of the environmental team was to be on site in our, it kind of reminded me of a bunker, 100-yard long, looked like an indoor stadium warehouse with cinder blocks 4 foot thick. Why were they so thick? Lined with 55-gallon drums of chemicals because that stuff could blow up. And that's the byproduct. That's what they use to make these things. Okay, my job was to be on site, making sure that when the
Catalyst blew up.
it blew out that way. To make sure that when the companies came to pick up the chemicals, because eventually you run out of room and they got to suck them out of the drums, and the transport companies, to make sure that everything was being handled properly, which it never was. But my job was to be there and monitor this whole process. So long before we had all those nasty chemicals to use as pills, we only had food, right? And food is very powerful, very, very powerful. And somewhere along the line, they convinced us that this man-made stuff is more powerful than food. Right, and I've seen some really amazing things happen. When I was in India, this guy that I know was having a severe anxiety attack. Okay, and some of this was probably psychological, but he has arrhythmias. His heart was literally beating out of his chest. We were thought he was going to die. Okay, and I rushed him over to this guy, and this homeopathic doctor, and he's, talking to him, and he goes like this, and he gives him a couple raisins, and then he keeps talking to him. And I'm not even joking, right? Boom. From the raisins. I'm dead serious. I mean, it completely calmed him down. I don't know what the connection was, but what I'm trying to get at is that food is medicine, and our diet right now is really challenged. You guys are an advanced group here, so you know that the best diet, who knows what the best diet is?
Organic, real food.
Yeah. You guys have heard there's like millions of diets out there, and everyone's tried lots of them. So Sandy knows this. The best diet is variation. Eat this way for one period of time, then eat this way for another period of time, then go back to this way, and then go a different way. To eat like our ancestors did, right? Eat with the seasons or eat with different cycles. Eat vegetarian for 4 months, then go to a keto diet for 4 months, then go to macro diet, and then go to paleo, and then go back to keto, and then fast for a couple days, and then go back to okay? Eat like our ancestors did. It's the best way. Variation is key. If you're going to the gym and you do chest presses, 10 chest presses, and then I do 15 pull-ups, and then I do 20 squats, and then I leave the gym, and I do that every day, am I ever going to get as strong as I want to get? No, because your system needs variation. The best exercise programs are ones that you never do the same thing, right? That's why these programs like CrossFit, I don't like that. I'm not saying that you should do that. I don't like it. But the reason that it's good for certain people is because you never ever do the same workout. Every day you show up and you go, what's the WOD? What's the workout of the day? And then it's on the board and then you do it. And then you might never do that again. Okay? So diet is such a huge component to this. And this is confusing. Because if you read what the media is putting out, you're going to be so confused that you're not going to know what's right. Right? I'm telling people to eat high-fat diet, and USA Today says that high-fat diets still cause heart attacks. I mean, it just happened like 3 months ago. Okay? And I'm boldly telling people, eat a high-fat diet. And then, no joke, like a month later, Time Magazine, USA Today, all these things say, the leading researchers in cardiovascular health are saying high-fat diet does indeed cause heart disease. And we know that it doesn't. Books have been written about this. I mean, whole textbooks are written about this. High-fat diets don't cause cardiovascular disease. So just be careful. All right? My advice for diet is whatever they're telling you to do in the media, just do the opposite. And you'll probably be more spot on. If they tell you to eat 6 meals a day, eat 2. If they tell you to that a high-fat diet is going to kill you, look the other way and say, what about this story am I missing? Maybe eat high-fat. I'm serious. It's just so weird how it works. If they tell you to get vaccinated, don't. That's what I do. If everyone's doing it, it must not be right. Unless you're in this house. If everyone else is doing it, it's just so funny because so many times in the past 6 years through lecturing, I'm telling people to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And my wife, Dr. Ashley, is the first one that said, we're just telling people to do the opposite. Is that okay? And I'm like, you do everything different than everyone else says? And she's like, yeah, I know. So there's something to be said about doing something different than everyone else is doing. Okay? Stress. All right? We're just now really starting to understand the physiological effects of stress in the system. Like literally just now. I mean, we've known that this is bad. Everyone knows. Grandma told me stress would kill me, right? You guys have heard that before. I mean, it's absolutely 100% true. The older you get and the more wise you get, the more you understand that that's the reality. Stress will kill you. But we're now understanding exactly how. All right? And really, at the end of the day, just figure out how to decrease your stress. Because nobody really needs to know the biological markers and the physiological change that happens in your system. I mean, it's just bad. I could bore you all day with biochemistry that you don't care about. Right? I know you don't because I barely do. But I get it. All right? It's really bad for you. It's really, really bad for you. So figuring out how to decrease it is the key. Okay? So P is physical, C is chemical, and E is emotional. What? So these are your stressors, physical, chemical, and emotional, and they will all tank you at the same rate. All will tank you at the same rate. Physical stressors, I mean, come on. Everyone gets that. That's a no-brainer. If you fall off a roof and bust your back, you're done until you get fixed, right? But nobody can argue that. If you're driving down the road and someone hits you at 50 miles per hour in your car, you're toast. You need to rebuild. It's a no-brainer. I don't even need to spend time talking about that one. And through the chiropractic adjustment, there's no better way to do that. Okay? And the chemical one, this one's really tough because we live in such a toxic, really, really, really toxic world today. Okay? And there's not many good ways to detoxify. All right? But we need to just be sensitive of these chemical stressors. And everyone can go home and open up their cleaning cabinet and make better choices. Right? Like vinegar. I use vinegar for everything. I replace bleach with vinegar. My wife brought home, does she too?
Like everything.
Everything. It's just brilliant. My wife bought Coke, a 12-pack of Coke the other day, and I was like, it was so funny because she carried the baby in, and she said, honey, will you go out and unload the car? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I'm walking out there, and there's a 12-pack of Coke. And I'm just like laughing in my head because I'm like, why did she buy this? Because I knew that she wasn't going to drink it. But I'm like, what's she up to? It's so funny. And I'm carrying this in, and I put it down, and I'm just like, what the hell is she doing? And I'm like, the next day, I think it was, she pours it into the toilet bowls. Yep. And I'm like, oh, yeah, obviously. Because we're on well water. It cleaned our toilets. So we can all make better choices. But chemical stressors are really, 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 really important. And virtually, right, Sandy, nobody's dealing with these. Nobody's dealing with your chemical stressors. People don't know how to get rid of the chemical toxic overload because they take them every day. And the last thing is emotional. And I'm not going to suggest or recommend that you do certain things, but what are some ways that we can deal with our emotional stress?
I go outside.
Yeah.
I go for a walk. I go to the woods.
Get into nature, right? And when you get out there, take your shoes off and let your feet tickle the dirt. Because magic, there's energy that comes from the earth. And grounding is really a good way to eliminate some emotional stress. As we soak up the energy field. Does anyone know what the frequency of earth is? It's called Schumann's frequency. And it's reproducible. And there's devices you can install in your home that give you that Schumann frequency. It's really brilliant stuff. Okay? What is another way?
Prayer and meditation.
Yeah! I always was it was really hard for me to meditate until I was working with someone and he said, you can meditate throughout the day and nobody knows that you're doing it. So in between adjustments, sometimes I'll pray or I'll meditate. 30 seconds. I'll just close my eyes, I'll stand at my computer, and I have this little process that I go through. Sometimes I'll pray, sometimes I'll meditate, and I'll really feel good afterward. Like, what a better thing to do than a 30-second little reset before I give an adjustment to someone. Prayer and meditation is beautiful. So I was always like, I can't meditate. Like, I can't sit and stare at a white light. I've tried it to the point where I actually go nuts. Really? But some people can do that, and that's always something that I strive for. Prayer, meditation, and there's some really beautiful techniques that you can do. Some emotional release techniques where you touch certain parts of your body that help you release some emotions and really calm you down. Okay? This is a no-brainer for everyone in this room. This is a no-brainer for everyone in this room. And these two right here, my prayer tonight is that we at least opened up your mind. If you haven't already been exposed to this way of thinking, open up your mind and planted some seeds to really deeply start to connect with the reality that you are the master of your own health. And nobody's going to save your life except you. Nobody. And this is a safe place to have these conversations. I don't know how safe it is saying this on the internet, but this is a safe place. Okay. Does anybody have any burning questions or things that we should bring to the table?